大家好，
我是 Stella，
我是 Warren， 今天要为您念的是补编心理治疗目的、过程与行业 Psychotherapy Purpose Process and Practice 2. 心理治疗的过程 2. The process of psychotherapy 6. 疗愈的定义 6. The definition of healing
因此心理治疗的过程可以简单的界定为宽恕的过程，因为没有一种疗愈离得开宽恕的。The process of psychotherapy then can be defined simply as forgiveness, for no healing can be anything else. 不宽恕者即使有病之人，因他必会认为自己不可宽恕。The unforgiving are sick, believing they are unforgiven. 因而紧抓着追究不放，视之为护身符，指望他慈爱的保护，警觉的防卫。这一切反应其实都是拒绝宽恕的可悲之举。The hanging on to guilt is hugging close, sheltering its loving protection and alert defense. All this is but the grim refusal to forgive. 病人一边哀悼失落之苦，一边却乐此不疲，这等于再三警告上主，上主止步。God may not enter here, the sick repeat over and over while they mourn their loss and yet rejoice in it. 唯有当病人开始听到自己所唱的挽歌，敢反身质问他的真正用意时，才有疗愈的希望。Healing occurs as a patient begins to hear the dirge he sings and questions its validity. 然而他必须先亲耳听到，才会听出那挽歌哀悼的竟是自己。Until he hears it, he cannot understand that it is he who sings it to himself. 听到那首哀歌，才算是踏出了康复的第一步。To hear it is the first step in recovery. 反身质问成了康复的一种决定。To question it must then become his choice. 人们有一种强烈的倾向，就是只能忍受着死亡之歌片刻，然后就当作没这回事，因而错失了修正的机会。There is a tendency, and it is very strong, to hear this song of death only an instant, and then dismiss it uncorrected. 那片刻的觉知其实为我们提供了改变生命曲调的一个大好机会。These fleeting awarenesses represent the many opportunities given us, literally, to change our tune. 我们才可能听到疗愈之声。The sound of healing can be heard instead. 但我们必须具备质疑那定罪之歌的真相的远心。But first, the willingness to question the truth of the song of condemnation must arise. 因为我们加照出来的自我概念里含有一种诡异的扭曲能力，会把丑陋的声音变得极其美妙。The strange distortions woven inextricably into the self-concept itself, but a pseudo-creation make his ugly sound seem truly beautiful. 使那嘈杂刺耳的噪音落于人的耳中，犹如宇宙的旋律，天使的歌声。The rhythm of the universe, the herald angel's song. All these and more are heard instead of loud, discordant freak X， 耳朵只能为声音解码，它不会听。The ear translates, it does not hear. 眼睛只会复制影像，它不会看。The eye produces, it does not see. 它们的功能就是把人心说预知物转为一种可接受的形式，不论它原本多么令人难以接受。Their task is to make agreeable whatever is called on, however disagreeable it may be. 他们只是配合心灵的决定，将它所预知物复制出来，而且转译为一种易于接受且赏心悦目的样子。They answer the decisions of the mind, reproducing its desire and translating them into acceptable and pleasant forms. 有时它外在的形象确实透露了背后的初衷，然而转眼间心灵便开始害怕，甚至怀疑自己的心智是否正常。Sometimes the thought behind the form breaks through, but only very briefly, and the mind grows fearful and begins to doubt its sanity. 但他仍不允许自己的爪牙改变他们所看到的形象，所听见的声音。Yet it will not permit its slaves to change the forms they look upon, the sounds they hear. 因为那一切已成为证明自己还没疯狂的保镖或解药。These are its remedies, its safeguards.From insanity， 人的感官所找来的外在证据只有一个目的，就是为他提供攻击的借口，使他再也看不见自己内心不宽恕的真相。These testimonies which the senses bring have but one purpose, to justify attack and thus keep unforgiveness unrecognized for what it is. 一般人很难赤裸裸地面对这一真相的。Sin undisguised, it is intolerable. 不宽恕的心就是依赖外在证据的支撑，才能存活下去。Without protection, it could not endure. 这正是一切疾病最爱玩的把戏，不让病人认清背后的真相。Here is all sickness, cherished but without the recognition that this is so. 只要不宽恕的心态不被识破，它就能千变万化，转为另一个东西。For when an unforgiveness is not recognized, the form it takes seems to be something else. 于是那另一物遂显得极其恐怖。And now it is the something else that seems to terrify. 然而，真正需要治疗的不是那个另一物 but it is not the something else that can be healed. 生病的不是它，因此它无需任何解药。It is not sick and needs no remedy. 你若把治疗的功夫耗在它身上，必然枉费功夫。To concentrate your healing efforts here is but futility. 有谁能治愈那根本不会生病之物而帮他康复？ Who can cure what cannot be sick and make it well? 疾病会化身为种种形式，不宽恕的心也是如此。Sickness takes many forms, and so does unforgiveness. 一种病态必会衍生为另一种病态，因它们是同一幻象。So closely is one translated into the other that a careful study of the form of sickness takes will point quite clearly to the form of unforgiveness that it represents. 然而，看出这一点还不足以治愈它。Yet, seeing this will not affect a cure. 你还需认清，只有宽恕能够疗愈不宽恕，也只有不宽恕才会滋生出这些疾病。That is achieved by only one recognition that only forgiveness heals an unforgiveness, and only an unforgiveness can possibly give rise to sickness of any kind. 心理治疗的最终目标就是帮人彻底明白这一点。This realization is the final goal of psychotherapy. 如何才能达到这一目标？ How is it reached? 治疗师必须在病患身上看到自己内在的不宽恕，给自己一个勇于面对、重新评估，然后宽恕自己的机会。The therapist sees in the patient all that he has not forgiven in himself and is thus given another chance to look at it, open it to re-evaluation, and forgive it. 他若能做到这一点，便不难看见自己的罪已随着过去而一事不返了。When this occurs, he sees his sins as gone into a past that is no longer here. 在那之前，他必会随时随地感到某种邪恶势力正伺机攻击。Until he does this, he must think of evil as besetting him here and now. 于是病患才能反映出他的罪的一块投影板，他才有机会放下自己的一切罪过。The patient is his screen for the projection of his sins, enabling him to let them go. 只要治疗师还会在此人身上看到一点罪的痕迹，他最多只能获得片面的解脱，而且一律重生。Let him retain one spot of sin in what he looks upon, and his release is partial and will not be sure. 没有人能够单独获得疗愈的。No one is healed alone. 这是救恩向所有聆听天音之人所吟唱的欢乐之歌。This is the joyous song salvation sings to all who hear its voice. 凡是自命为心理治疗工作者，应该随时牢记这一句话。This statement cannot be too often remembered by all who see themselves as therapists. 他们必须把病患视为宽恕的使者，因为仍然相信罪的存在，而且习惯着眼于罪的人，有待这些病患帮他们认出彼此的无罪本质。Their patient can but be seen as the bringers of forgiveness, for it is they who want to demonstrate their sinlessness to eyes that will believe that sin is there to look upon. 如果治疗师能够在病患身上看到，而且接受那些无罪的证据，等于为双方心灵缔结一个盟约，他们在此盟约下相遇、结合、回归一体的生命。Yet will the proof of sinlessness seen in the patient and accepted in the therapist offer the mind of both covenant in which they meet and join and are so as one.
补编心理治疗目的、过程与行业 Psychotherapy Purpose, Process and Practice 2. 心理治疗的过程 2. The process of psychotherapy 6. 疗愈的定义 6. The definition of healing 祝大家有个闪闪发光、充满爱的一天，阿们。我爱你。